Hey everybody, Ellie and I are extremely excited to share another video with you and give you some more tricks and things to do with your dog, especially right now while we're all away from schools and other activities that we enjoy, and even in the future. Some of you guys are watching this and you're not tied down to the house. Now, today we're going to focus on teaching our dogs a foundational behavior of touch. Now we're going to teach them to touch an object on cue. Now what that means is that we're teaching the dog to take a body part, and it could be any body part, and make contact with an object of our choice. Now today we're going to make it very simple. We're going to utilize the dog's nose and have the dog's nose touch an object. Now just before any other training, when we prepare to start any training session, we want to make sure that we've got everything that we need. So for me, as you guys have known in the past, I'm very much a fan of the clicker, so I've got my clicker handy. And if you don't have a clicker, that's 100% okay. Utilize the word yes and replace this. And I'll show you how to do that while we're doing the training sessions. Now I also want to make sure I have treats handy and quickly accessible. And then for our touch object, I recommend something very unique. Something the dog will want to investigate that they don't normally see. So today I'm going to use just a home item, a wooden spoon that you might find in the kitchen. So this is a great object. You can find anything you want. If you need to, take a moment to pause the video and go and find something unique to practice touch. All right, so as I set up for this behavior, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stack the clicker, if I'm using one, right on top of my wooden spoon. Now, as we go to teach this touch cue, it may seem very basic at first, but we're going to have a fun piece of homework to add at the end of this. And then in some future videos, you're going to have some additional tricks and fun items that you can use the touch behavior to teach some pretty neat stuff to your dog. All right, so we're going to get Ellie started. Come on, Ellie. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it about 2 to 3 inches in front of Ellie's nose. I'm not going to give her any communication and see if she goes to investigate it. The moment that she investigates this, whether she sniffs or she places her nose on it, I'm going to click and give her a cookie. Notice that you need to be patient to wait for them to finish chewing up that treat before we ask them to do it again. All right, so that is exactly how I do it with the clicker. And notice that it's the moment that their nose makes contact, I will click and treat. Now, if I was using the yes, I would do it this way. Yes. No difference, it's just the verbal cue, or the verbal marker versus the click. Yes. Now please be patient. Ellie's been doing this for quite a while, so your dog may not touch it right away. And the goal is, again, to the moment that they sniff or look at it, that I would give the yes or the click. Now we're going to build on this, and you're going to want to do that for about 2 to 3 minutes and give the dog a break before you move on to this next step, okay? But the next step is, I'm going to start moving the object out just a little bit further from the dog's nose. Now that's going to look something like this. I want the dog to stretch out for it just a little bit more to make that touch happen. Or with the verbal, yes, and the click. Sometimes I combine the two out of habit because I love my clicker. Now, we're going to work, again, this is just a progression. I'm going to work that distance for another 2 to 3 minutes. If I need, I may work that for just a little bit longer than just 2 to 3 minutes, or do multiple sessions of 2 to 3. Now my next step is I'm going to start working on side-to-side movement of the head. Just a simple turning of the head of working on a directional touch. Now again, we'll start off. Yes. Using the verbal again or the click is preferable. Now again, working either side with the dog. We want the dog going back and forth. And after a couple of minutes of that, I'm going to start working on maybe a downward and an upward. Notice I'm not asking a lot of downward motion yet. If I dropped it too far, too quickly, my dog may not understand what it is that they're supposed to be doing or that we're asking out of them. And we're allowing the clicker to do all the talking, or verbal yes. But then we move up, yes. the upward motion is usually the most difficult for the dog to pick up. So I start that 2 to 3 inches above the nose on this one. I really try not to exaggerate it right out the gate. So those are our first beginner steps for this, for the touch behavior. Now, if you're wanting to practice those, go ahead and hit that pause button. But I'm going to go and I'm going to show you a few additional steps because I know you've got the time to work on it. Now, my next is I'm going to go ahead and pull Ellie off the climb, and I'm going to have her down in front of me. My next goal is to work on movement. So getting the dog to get up out of their position to come and touch that. So this might look, I'm going to come a little further out. Yes. And working the dog away from me. So I'm going to work up to full extension of my arm, but at first it's just back and forth right in front of me. Now these are all, again, beginner steps that are going to lead us to some really fun tricks. And quite honestly, most dogs really like the factor that all they have to do is put their nose on here and they get a cookie. And next thing you know, it's like your dog's steering wheel. They'll go anywhere that you want them. Now I'm going to give you guys some homework, and I want you to try to accomplish this, and I want you to share it with me either on our Facebook or send us a message. I want to see you guys accomplish this. Ellie here. This is one of my favorite ones. Now the end is going to be, we're going to try to get the dog to jump up and make contact with the item. Now I am going to use the word touch, but I don't want you guys to do that quite yet. It's just that that's what Ellie has already learned to do. Touch. And Ellie tried to get a little bit closer to it. I'm going to bring her right back down. Touch. Having the dog jump up for that item. I'm going to give you more of a side view of this one so you can get a better idea. Touch. And getting the dog to jump up for that item. Now, here. This should be the last thing that you practice. Once your dog is able to go back and forth for that target and touch that consistently, then you're ready to start adding the jump. Now when you go to add that jump, let's start off with just a little bit of a stretch. You notice she didn't have to jump, she just stretched for that target. Yes. And slowly work the dog right back up. There you go. All right, you guys, that is going to be that is exactly how we're going to teach our dogs to target. Get creative with your item, or go ahead and grab another stick. Make sure you keep your training sessions to about 2 to 3 minutes. Ellie's been doing this for quite a while, but with some solid work, within about 2 to 3 days, your dog should be jumping up to grab that item, or to touch that item. I want to see your videos. Make sure you share them with us on our Facebook, or send us a message. We want to see you guys having a good time and enjoying a little bit of life with your dog. You guys have a great one, and we look forward to sharing another video with you soon.